Welcome, U.S. Virgin Islands Chess. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to the FIDE Online arena, and it's your host Colin Heim with another game. This is a very short game, guys and girls. Short miniature here, okay? Maybe about 26 moves, it looks like. Anyway, e4, c5. Let's go. My opponent from Russia. I didn't see what the rating was, but let's get into it. Really nice instructional game here for us that want to learn what mistakes to avoid during openings. And let's get right into it because it's very interesting. Very good lesson for all of us. e4, c5, f4. Again, the title of this video, guys, is not to King's Gambit, the Sicilian. And this is why it's not recommended to play f4 here. But my opponent went for it anyway, maybe some adventurous, something new. So we see knight to c6, knight f3, d6. d6 is good, bishop b5. Bishop b5 attacking c6 obviously, but now allowing black to develop with bishop to d7. Knight to c3 is not the most played move in this position, guys. I just expected short castles. But instead we saw knight to c3. And after knight to c3, a6, and bishop into c6, obviously bishop into c6. d3 gets you in a lot of trouble here. d3 was not best again, it was just best to short castles, but instead my opponent did not castle when he had the opportunity. And instead now this allows me to play queen to b6. And now castling on this move, which now my opponent waited until this move, now there's just c5, c4 is coming with check. And d4 is not a good response to this, which was played in the game. Let's see why, guys. So rook castle kingside now, played by our instructor. Rook to b1 and knight f6. Okay, so it's still unclear whether or not white has won the center with these sending pawns there on d4, e4, and f4. Anyways, let's continue. So queen to e2 was played, and e5 now, fighting for the center as black should here. F takes e, d takes e, knight takes e, and find the best move now for black. It takes you guys a couple seconds. Maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not too obvious. Obvious or not obvious. It's the best move that should be played. This is why I played queen to b6 when it took a while for my opponent to castle here. And yes, guys, here it is, just queen d4 check. Now, if you see the knight that fell for the e5 take, that was a mistake, is now going to fall. Even with the move like bishop to e3, obviously, because now the knight drops. Okay, and black has a minor piece for a pawn. So black is +2 in this position, as we mentioned. Now queen captures on c4, winning the failed pawn. Well, not really a failed pawn, let's not say that. It actually did a great job of getting black in advantageous position, with positional initiative as well as material gain. So knight into e4, now knight captures, queen captures. Rook into f7, just snagging a pawn. Snagging the f7 pawn there. And now bishop to c5 may or may not be the killer move in the position. Why is it the killer move in this position, guys? Obviously because if bishop captures, then the queen drops. Okay. So rook to f3 defending now, protecting. Whoops, captures. Rook into e3, and now just pinning the rook to the white king. So the white king moves to h1. Queen to d4, we said king h1, correct. And rook h to e8. Now why is rook h to e8 played here, guys? Well, it's actually pretty obvious. Rook captures, and now not capturing with the bishop, but rook captures is best. And now obviously the queen can't recapture because the bishop defends perfectly. So you see queen f1 and queen to g4, and now getting ready to maybe slide the rook up to the second rank. And that's exactly what happened after we saw c4. And queen f8, check to the black king, as it does. Best move in the position, guys, is obviously this. And after that, king can go here. Maybe a check. Going backwards. And yeah, this would be the best continuation, and it's going to be checkmate. anyways, my opponent didn't notice that I had a queen on g4 there, and yes, queen captures is good, and that's the end of the game. The game terminated there on the spot. Thank you guys so much for watching US Virgin Islands Chess at home and abroad. As per usual, should have got a lot out of this. Should have got a lot out of this. This was a nice little mini instructional. Some very good things to learn from, especially if you're an intermediate level or not as advanced as you would like to be. Let's go back to some of these small sound misses here. So queen to b6, obviously castling into this check with c4 check, discovered check here. Obviously not best. That's why I had to ask the question, why did my opponent just knock castles here? But we see what happens, guys, with little inaccuracies when we don't do things properly early in the opening. We just get punished. And remember, after long castles, rook b1, knight f6, queen e2, e5 fighting for the center. And now, if white falls for the bait here and recaptures with the knight, there's queen d4 check. And there's no stopping the capture of the minor piece on e5, guys. So just again, that's what happened. Pushing e5, takes. Well, obviously you cannot capture with the d-pawn as the king has not moved away from that diagonal from the queen on b6. After f takes, d takes, knight takes. And black is just up a minor piece here for a pawn. We saw white queen recaptured on c4. Offering an exchange of queens, obviously not taking it. You're down a minor piece. You got to still keep fighting here. And then a nice little novelty with bishop to c5, dropping back the rook after the rook picked off the f7 pawn. Now finally the king makes its way. So just a couple slow moves here by my opponent. But when you play against someone a little sharper, you tend to fall a little easier, and that's what happened here. So check. And I think we can stop here. Thank you guys all for participating and watching. Many more to come in the future. Thank you all. Have a nice time, and bye-bye for now. See you on the other side.